Hey everybody, starting a new series today, classic album song countdown. I don't get something to that order. I'm here with Sam St. John, my usual partner. Of course, we did 15 or so Beatles countdowns together, took every album one by one, ranked the songs. Now we decided to do something a little different. We're going to move it around to classic albums that are landmark, well thought of, critically acclaimed, whatever you want to say. We're going to have a different rotating guest every week. This week, it's Larry Graves, the Canadian Studmuffin. Glad to have him here. Of course, Larry's been generous enough to have both Sam and I on his live streams a few times, and really enjoy that, promoting our channel. And we want to say thank you to Larry and have him be our first guest. So glad to have him here. A little bit about the album, Band on the Run, Paul McCartney and Wings. We figured we'll just go right into the Beatles solo albums as our first. Came out in 1973. They're McCartney's fifth album since leaving the Beatles, his third with Wings, recorded in Nigeria of all places. Some wild conditions there. They weren't exactly ideal for recording. The studio wasn't up to snuff, and Paul was held up at gunpoint. I hear at one point some of his demos were taken away and lyrics for future songs. So a real wild and crazy time, but he put out a great album. I think it's his best solo album. That's my opinion, but we'll see what these guys think when we get down to it. First of all, gentlemen, great to have you here. Larry, Sam, an honor. Thank you very much. Thoughts on the album? Get into it. What do you think?
Well, I don't think it's its best solo album, Rich. You're wrong.
I've been wrong before.
It is. It's definitely a great album. And I think when it came out in 73, around that time, I was starting to lose a little bit of interest in the solo Beatles.
Yeah.
At the time, Wildlife, I thought it was okay, but now I love it. But Red Rose Speedway was just kind of so, but now I do love it. But yeah, it's a great album, and I'm excited to. Sorry?
I'm sorry. What do you think is his best, Ram or something else?
Actually, Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. If you haven't heard that, you should. I think especially Sam would love that.
I know you asked me to delve into it. I still haven't gotten it yet. It's it's on my Amazon list.
It takes two or three listens to get into it, but it's okay. It's a more serious work, and his lyrics are, I think it's some of his finest lyrics are on that album for his solo career. And the other one is Ram.
Yeah.
My two favorites.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Larry. I don't know if it's my favorite of his. I like Ram more and more, especially now that I'm older.
Yeah.
And actually I'm really liking Flaming Pie quite a bit in terms of better albums than his classic period. I would say probably this is maybe his most Beatle-y solo album. It's got a lot of Beatle still tinges to it, even though he's kind of touching a little bit on the glam rock that was coming out at the time. He's got some heavier stuff like Let Me Roll It was pretty heavy. And then some folky stuff on there as well. So he's still playing with different genres as the Beatles did. But it really flows. It's not a concept album, but there are a lot of themes that pop up, whether it's characters or references to other songs and within different songs on the album. So it's a fine work, and it's when people think about his solo career, they're probably going to think about Band on the Run over everything else when he passes. So it's up there, and surprisingly, I don't own a physical copy, but I know the songs really well.
I do own a physical copy. I have a CD as well, but this is the album version, US version. It does have Helen Wheels on it, which is not part of the UK version, which is the one we're doing today. We're going to rank 9 songs. We'll talk about Helen Wheels later and where it would fit in. But I also like Venus and Mars too. The later album is pretty good as well. But what can you say? The man has a great track record. So he has some duds along the way, but not too many. So our order today is going to be Larry, Sam, and myself. We're going to rotate. We're going to go 9 down to 1, and at the end of the broadcast here, we're going to give the album an overall score on a 10-point scale. So, Larry, do us the honors. What do you have at number 9?
Number 9 is a song kind of co-written by Dustin Hoffman. I'm sure most people know the story about Dustin Hoffman, the actor, was with Paul and said, "Hey, can you write a song like right now?" And he basically did. Picasso's Last Words, Drink to Me. It's catchy. I like it. I like it a lot. But it's also feels like a little bit of filler too.
Yeah.
In a way. And so yeah, it's number 9 for me.
Very good.
All right. For me, it's I didn't know this. It's the first Denny Lane co-write with Wings, and that's No Words. Maybe it's number 9 because it's the one I'm least familiar with. However, it kind of feels like but I was mentioning Beatles influence. It's definitely got the Beatles sound to it. It's got kind of an orchestral beginning with the string section, and it's a good song. It's shorter. It's 2 minutes ish, 2.5 minutes, but there's not a whole lot of hook to it or anything like that for it to latch on. So that's my number 9.
I agree. That's my number 9. Kind of uninspired, flat. I think it's the only misfire on the album for me. Co-written by Denny Lane, which you mentioned. Just an average song, and this would prevent the album from being a perfect album for me, because I even like the one Larry mentioned, which I'll have coming up soon. So that's my number 9. No Words.
Well, I guess I should leave now.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Everybody subscribe to Larry.
So my number 8 is, I'm not sure, I forget how you pronounce this, Mammonia.
Ammonia or something like that.
Mammonia.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's not great, and it's kind of like you were saying for No Words. That's how I feel about this song. It's kind of uninspiring and a bit bland, I guess.
Yeah.
And not really the greatest melody in it or anything, but it's good, but it's just not a great Paul McCartney song.
Very good.
My favorite Paul McCartney album is the White Album, by the way. I didn't mention that.
Yes.
I knew that was in here somewhere.
It had to. Yeah, we're still talking about the Beatles. Number 8 for me is it's never been one of my favorites, and the first time that I heard this song was on the Wingspan compilation that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s, whenever that came out, of Paul McCartney's career, and it's the song Bluebird. It's just never been one that stuck with me. It's kind of got like that laid back kind of summery feel. It's got some pretty background vocals by Linda and Denny Lane, and Linda really shines on it for sure with her background vocals. But I don't know, maybe because when Paul sings about birds, I want them to be black, which is a White Album track, ladies and gentlemen. Right. But it's just never been one. I've never really cared for the whole I'm a bluebird, I'm a bluebird. It's just, I don't know, it never felt like it never felt like it could have. It always felt like it could have been better to me. I don't know. It's never been one that's latched on like it should have. So
cool. My number 8 is Picasso's Last Words, Drink to Me, which Larry had at number 9. We're pretty close there. I like the story. That probably ups it a notch with him having dinner with Dustin Hoffman. He met Steve McQueen also. They were on the set of Papillon, which is a film that came out in '73. And Dustin said to him, "I bet you just can't write a song and to spur of the moment," and he picks up a magazine. There's a story about Picasso in there, and he starts on drink to me, drink to me. I mean, it's cool. I like that. Ginger Baker appears on here on percussion as well from Cream, and then it has the reprise of Jet and Hey or Ho, Hey Ho.
Yeah.
Hello. They're both at the end of that, so it is a throwaway song. I'll admit that, but
it's catchy.
It's catchy, and I can see if you have a couple of cocktails at the time, you can get into that and sway back and forth singing it. So There you go, Larry. I read Sam with his orange soda over there.
All right, cheers.
So that's number 8 for me.
Okay. My number 7 is I'm a bluebird. I'm a bluebird.
That's what it feels like to me too.
when this came out, right, in 73, you know, I was getting into more hard rock and all that too. And hearing, you know, at the time, this is Paul McCartney at his most, and like it was embarrassing at the time, right? Like it's like, no, Paul, you're not a bluebird. It's just so sickening sweet. But
Yeah.
you know, through the years, I've grown to appreciate it more. And like you said, Linda McCartney's vocals, and yeah, it's not the greatest song. It is overly sweet, but still, it's Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
He does it all.
Even on an album with only 9 tracks, he still does it all.
Yeah.
And he's playing a lot of drums on here too, because you know, it's basically
Yeah.
Linda, Paul, and
Yeah.
Kenny Lane. The other guys that were in the band prior are abandoned ship, and they're you know, down to a 3-man band with a couple of, you know, accompanists. But
This might have been a time though that John Lennon, if he was with John Lennon, John could have maybe possibly helped him. Like, no, Paul, that's
yeah, too sick and sweet. Get it off.
change a few lyrics here.
Yeah.
Like, we get it, you're in love with Linda, you know. Yeah. For me, Larry mentioned the last song, Mamunia, is my number 7.
Yeah.
Again, kind of silly, but I mean, I know, again, like Rich said earlier, recorded, you know, a lot in Nigeria, and I think this was like the name of the hotel that they were staying at. I think they had a slight change in the spelling, but it's kind of neat. Again, just it's almost like world music. So you kind of, I feel like this one would have fit better on RAM, honestly, versus on Been on the Run. It kind of fits more with like the at home style. And again, a lot of repetition with the Mamunia. Whoa, it's just, I don't know. I think I read that they were actually thinking about making this an A-side on a single, which would have been kind of hard to believe, especially at this time with the strength of the songs that he had coming out still. So I'm glad they didn't. Probably why we don't know much more about it, but it's it's got a bunch more that are stronger, in my opinion, on the album.
It does have a cool bass line too.
Yeah.
It's my number 7 too. The hotel was part of my notes I had down here. It's a different spelling, has an O in it, OU instead of a U, and it means safe haven in Arabic. That's the translation of the word. It's light, it's melodic to a degree, and there's like rain coming. He's talking about rain, heavy rain, and sort of a safe haven. That's the word, what the word means. Mamunia. I like it. It's just not a favorite, obviously, but it works in the context of the album for me. Especially that they're in Nigeria, and it's just something that fits. So, number 7.
My number 6 is Let Me Roll It, which some say is like he's talking to John, or trying to create kind of a John Lennon vibe to the song, and
Right.
And it's a message to him, I guess. And I really do like it, and the guitar riff is great, but after like 4 minutes of it, right, it does get a little tedious. It's sort of like the guitar lick in Dizzy Miss Lizzy. It's like at the end you got a bit of a headache.
Go right through.
Yeah, but and there's a lot of echo on his vocals on that track. But I mean, it's still a great song, but not my favorite on the album.
It's kind of similar in terms of like the vocal editing is all like Your Blues.
Yeah.
Like, so it's definitely Lennon-esque.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
My number 6 is going to be Mrs. Vanderbilt. Again, this one, the first time I heard it was on the Good Evening New York City 2009 album. This is one of the deeper cuts he was pulling out on that tour. And it's very catchy. It's kind of like that kind of jaunty, like doom, 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 doom. A lot of lyrics. He's kind of some nonsense to it, but
Yeah.
it's fun. Again, it's sing along with the ho, hey ho. And like you said, it makes another appearance on Picasso, which is cool. Again, that's why I mentioned in terms of like a conceptual album, this has some conceptual elements with the teases and the different, you know, reverting back to some of the original melodies. And I like this. You keep wanting to like do like this, like go up and down. And I can imagine doing it live, like just the whole audience is bouncing up and down because they speed it up at the end, which is really fun. So I like these songs, and really from this point on, all of these songs I really like. And Mrs. Vanderbilt's it's a fun one. I would like to see him pull it back. Honestly, it's been about 13 years or so since he's done it last, I think.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like when they have threads of little threads of songs that show up later like that, you know, on the album. Pink
It's like
Floyd
Abbey Road. Yeah.
Pink Floyd does it in some of their albums too, especially I think on The Wall, you hear songs early.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. Number 6 for me is I'm a Bluebird, I'm a Bluebird.
Look at that.
Yeah, the twinkle fingers.
Yeah, it's got that, you know, the flying metaphor, like escaping, sort of like Band on the Run and Jet. There's a lot of stuff in flight, and Bluebird's part of that. It is syrupy, it is sweet, saccharine sweet. It's got a calypso like percussion to it, and a pretty good sax here, sax solo by Howie Casey. But it does show off McCartney's sixth sense of melody. The guy can write melody with the best of them. I mean,
Yeah.
all his songs are melodic for the most part, and this is another one. It is a little on the sappy side.
Yeah. It might have been nicer if he just did it with an acoustic guitar like Blackbird. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could live with that. Yeah,
That might have worked better, maybe.
sure,
Or maybe improve the lyrics a bit.
a bit.
I would say
Yeah.
Bluebird almost sounds like a McCartney 1 song.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could have heard it fitting in there had it just been with an acoustic guitar, maybe like
Yeah.
just a kick drum or something.
Mhm.
So my number 5, I think this song would really have fit on Venus and Mars really well because it's the same kind of vibe with it. Mrs. Vanderbilt. It's really catchy. I love it. It's a great melody and really hooky. So
Yeah.
Well, I guess my big surprise here, number 5, is Picasso's Last Words. I've always liked this song a lot. I first heard it on the Wings Over America album, where they combine it with Richard Cory, which I prefer much more, which is the Paul Simon kind of old folky song. Simon and Garfunkel had done it. It was an older folk song, but had it just been that first part of Picasso's Last Words without like the filler, like the last 3 minutes of it being, you know, referencing other songs with the, you know, the ho hey ho on the back, and just it just seems like, and like it's a slower version of Mrs. Vanderbilt on the second half of it. But in terms of just the actual Picasso's Last Words portion, I think it's fantastic. It fits my style of music, the acoustic bass, and again, kind of a harmony, the drinking song. I love that all. And like I said, I really like it when they do it with Richard Cory live. But I had to fit it on this list as the album intended, and so because of that, it's probably a couple notches further down than I would have it otherwise.
Yeah, I like the song. The only song I really don't like is No Words. The other 8 I enjoy. Number 5 for me is Mrs. Vanderbilt. We're all in the same ballpark on this. I like the ho hey ho. It's kind of a carefree song. What's the use of worrying? What's the use of anything?
Yeah.
You know, just kind of come as what may kind of thing. Fun, carefree, cool rhythm to it. So it makes it at number 5, right in the middle of the pack.
well, number 4, I have no words for this song. This, I feel, this is one of if I did a top 10 Paul McCartney underrated songs, I think that might be in the list. I know it's Denny Lane too, but it's, you know, Denny Lane sings it really well, but I love when I have the lyrics here. When Paul starts singing your burning love, sweet burning love, just his vocals, right? Just fantastic vocals by him. So I've always really loved the song. So it's too short. That's my only complaint.
Yeah, I need to get back in this. Maybe I'm not giving it a fair shake because I blew it off right away. I knew it was going to be my last song, but I respect your opinion. I'll have to check it out.
I'm curious if we're all going to be the same song for number one.
That would be interesting, but I doubt it. There's always a wrinkle thrown into these.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, because like for me, like the next four were all hits, so they could go any way at any period. So number 4, Larry had it a while back. It was Let Me Roll It. I really liked it. I liked it a lot more when I was a younger teenager, like when I was about 14 or 15, just because it fits that style of music that a 14 or 15-year-old boy would like. And I know like now, like it's pretty standard fare in his set list now. He always like teases it with a Foxy Lady with his, like, he's playing the guitar solo on it, which is really, really good. I mean, Paul is really a great guitarist, and it's a heavy track. And again, kind of the connection we made earlier, it could have been more Lennon-esque. It would have been neat to see him and Lennon do it live, like had like Lennon come out on stage with him, and they could have traded vocals, and I could just hear Lennon with like his like high, like shredded voice hitting these notes with Paul too.
Yep.
Really great, but like Larry said, it might go a little bit long, that whole now. But I really like the intro with the bass is really, really great, and I never skip it when I hear it on the radio, and they play it on the radio down here quite a bit. So it's number 4 this week.
My number 4 is one that neither of you guys have mentioned yet, so it's in your top 3, and that's 1985. I love it. I love the piano opening of it. So upbeat. It's building to something. It's kind of sweeping a little bit. You got horns in here. I think it concludes the album in a really grand way. It's No One Ever Left Alive in 1985. Cool song. And it's got the reprise again, A Band on the Run at the very end, and it's looking towards the future because this album is 1973, so it's 12 years before 1985. I mean,
now he's looking back.
Right now we're looking back 35 years, but back then it was looking ahead. So it's a cool song, no doubt about it. But I like the 3 in front of it just a tad more, so that's where it's landing for me. Top 3.
Is it my turn?
Yes, sir.
Okay, number 3, Band on the Run. I like, I've always loved the song, but I think it would have been lower in my rankings until recently. I think it's the kind of cheesy synthesizer that's in it that would always kind of annoy me. Like an early synthesizer sound. But I love the changes in it, and it's definitely a Paul McCartney classic, and great opening for the album too. So number 3.
Very good.
Number 3 for me is 1985. Rich just talked about it again. It's a great closing track. And I remember when I saw McCartney in was it 2015, I guess, when he got on. This is one of the first songs that he went to a piano for. He had been playing his bass before, and then he went over to the piano. And he always does this, like, this one's for the Wings fans, and then he started playing this song, and like as soon as he hit that piano, I mean, it just filled the stadium. It was fantastic. One of my favorite renditions of it was when he did it live, and that was Paul's a man in his early 70s at that time. But yeah, again, it's funny that it's 37 years old in terms of the year now. And I'm sure in 1985, Paul was looked at as like one of the older guys at that point, and he's been going on another 37 years since then. So it's a rocking track. I love his vocal. It's kind of like right here in his throat, like the whoa, I like it a lot. So it's number 3.
Very good. My number 3 is Let Me Roll It. That you guys talked about the Lennon shout out or whatever. It's imitating him. That guitar is John Lennon through and through. Kind of bluesy in a way. Good vocal by Paul. And there's that connotation that it could be rolling it like a joint type thing. Let me roll. Like he's He was a weed smoker, as we all know, may still be for all I know, but good tune. Let Me Roll It, pretty high up. I don't hear it that much on the radio where I'm at. You may hear it down there, but the two songs I have in front of it are the two big hits off this album. So I vibe towards
What I understand, I think he gave up weed not too long ago. I think it was like
I
2015
think a few years back.
for his
Probably,
grandkids.
yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to be an influence.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think since his latest wife, I think maybe.
Down to see. Yeah.
I think he'd had enough of it because I think he smoked quite a bit of it in the 70s.
Yeah, 50 years, you know, give it up, you know?
He got arrested a few times. Yeah.
You can only get high so many times.
I like it.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
that's when he became a vegetarian.
Hey, he's doing something right. The man looks
Maybe smoking
phenomenal.
some vegetarian stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, he looks good for 80. I'll say that.
Yeah. My number, is it my turn?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, number 2, right?
I get confused here.
That's
My
right.
number 2 is Jet. Woo.
Woo.
Yeah, really catchy, really rocky tune. I think I recently read that the song is actually, Jet was one of his dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the lyrics really didn't make any sense
No.
back in the day. Like most of the day, he was probably smoking weed. I'm a bluebird, man. But yeah, it's number 2 for me. It's a really famous,
Yeah.
and I think he still plays it live.
Yeah.
He should.
So
if he
great,
doesn't.
great tune. Jet.
Yeah, I think it's one that he's kind of contradicted himself a few times about like what it was actually about. Yeah, like I think like in 2010 he talked about it being like about a pony or something that he
That's
had or
right.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
But-
weed will do to you. You get confused.
Dog, pony, what's the matter? You know?
What does it matter? It's got
Some
4
kind of
legs.
animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Martha, my dear. Let's go back even further.
Another one. Yeah.
Number 2 for me is the title track, "Band on the Run." Again, some people said it was kind of about the Beatles. 'Cause at this point, the Beatles had not really been an organization for about 4 years, and I think one of the lines that "If we ever get out of here" was like a George Harrison quip that he made about a business meeting with Alan Klein. Talking like, when are we going to get back to work? And he said, "If we ever get out of here," because Alan Klein, we all know, was something else. But I mean, I love it. I love the whole like the sweet idea of it. It's again, Paul McCartney's got that knack for melody. He still does those kind of sweets. I know he did one on the Egypt Station album, fairly recently. I think the last song on there had like that sweet style to it, and it's something that he can do really well. And that's the classical element in his brain. But I love the whole even the intro with like the synthesizer. And I get what you're saying, Larry, about it kind of being, it's outdated, but it's not one that really stuck. But then the funk element, kind of the "If we ever get out of here" portion, really rocks in, and then the whole 12-string acoustic that comes in to finish off the last 2 minutes of the song, and then that really great slide guitar. Just it's a perfect song. It could be number 1 any day. So
Yep. My number 2 is Jet. I already talked about it. Went to number 7 on the charts. Named for the Labrador Retriever or the pony. We don't know, but whatever. It's a rocking song, solid. You got McCartney playing guitar and bass and drums, the whole 9 yards. Catchy, melodic. I love the woo woo woos. Climb on the back and we'll go for a ride in the sky. Again, he's got that theme, whether it be Band on the Run or Flying or Bluebirds. And saxophone at the end is a little added twist as well. So it works. Great song.
I also heard a rumor that Jet might have been about an airplane.
Solid rumor.
That's what I thought it was back in the day, right? Like, who knows? So my number 1, and this song would be in my top 10 Paul McCartney songs of all time for solo, 1985. I love when he plays the piano, especially on that track.
pounds it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killer.
And his vocals are just so superb. And I've got the deluxe version, not the box set, but just like the 3 CDs and a DVD. And on it, there's video of him performing that live, you know, and him just going crazy on the piano. And I think he's even said he's not a great piano player, but from what I've seen, he is.
I think he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number one.
I have heard him say that because I think he says like he plays the piano like a guitar player, which is
Yeah.
very chordal.
Yeah.
But I mean, even just some of the stuff that he does before, like leading up to a song, like if you see him live, like he'll just like be fiddling around the piano before he even does anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. He undershoots how good he really is. But number one for me, y'all have both already mentioned it. It's the song Jet. It's always been a favorite. I love the slow intro to it. The horns, the ba 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 na. And I love it. It just takes its time to get there. And I think he even said like the whole idea, like, you know, I thought the major was a lady suffragette. I think he said that he just put that in there because it fit lyrically and like time signature all worked out for that word. And that's
and we have to remember that I guess he lost the lyrics for a lot of the songs before.
That's right.
So he's, you know, he's kind of I can understand maybe not the greatest lyrics overall. He's in a rush to make the album.
Yeah, lyrically, like the album, I would say might be loose, but musically it's very tight.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on in the background, and really with just the 3 core members. I mean, it's crazy because even like if you look at the personnel on a lot of these tracks, they use like a lot of like roadies like in background, like but it's like this guy like give him a tambourine or sing a background vocal, even if it's low in the mix, we'll put to fill it out. But again, it's one Jet. They played on the radio here a lot too.
Yeah.
It's just you have to crank it up. The whole like them shouting Jet every time. It's just I love it. He didn't play it when I saw him live, but it is a common one for him. So hopefully he'll do it in May when I see him.
Yeah. Unbelievable. My number one is Band on the Run, the title track. I mean, it's easy, but I had to go there. Big hit, almost a signature song for him. Freedom and escape, you know, stuck inside these 4 walls, set inside forever, all that stuff. And then when the rain exploded with a mighty crash and we fell into the sun, you can just see the escape and the freedom. And there's a theme here, like that I read, where the Beatles were under the pressure so much of cranking it out, the next song, the next tour, the next this, the next that. And this is just about, I guess, looking for that escape to just get away from it all and whatever. I love the song. It's fantastic. It's another one you have to crank up. This whole album it really, you know, on the next, I haven't listened to it full in maybe 10 years. It's a great album, obviously. And I'm thrilled we picked this for our first one because it gave me a new sense of McCartney as a musical genius, which he is. Let's face it. Even though the words are sometimes, the lyrics are sometimes thrown together casually or whatever, he's not an all-time great lyricist, but musically, there's suites that he comes up with and the transitions and the little, you know, the little gems.
Again, I would say even if McCartney never wrote a word, I mean, if it was like Elton John, for example, Elton John's a genius musically. McCartney would still be one of the greatest musicians of all time.
His sense of melody is second to none. I mean, it's just incredible.
For me, he's number one. He's the number one artist. Like,
it's hard to argue.
Yeah,
it is hard to argue, and he's been doing it for probably 60 years. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, compare him to any other artist. What songs have you done? And then Paul.
So I mean, even somebody like Brian Wilson. Wilson didn't do a lot of lyrics. It was mostly music. Or Elton John. Use him again. You know.
Not that they aren't geniuses in their own right.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
But the consistency too, and the body of work as a whole.
And then him playing all these different instruments. He can be a great producer.
Yep. And then when you see that Get Back documentary and him
Yeah,
really going to town.
that really brought up his stature in that too. Like,
It
oh,
really
he wasn't really as bossy as we thought he was.
No, he was misunderstood.
Like
I
everybody gets annoying, right, when you're together. Like,
Yeah. Like us.
Oh, I never do.
well, you're our Donny Osmond Sam.
That's right.
Donny
Yeah,
Osmond never gets annoying.
he doesn't know.
So let's say a little bit about Helen Wheels, which is on the US album. It's a kind of a bonus track, I guess we'll call it here, because we're not really ranking it, but it's a good song. It was a single. It was actually released 2 months prior to this album, like the Beatles used to do. They throw a single out and then the album to follow, or sometimes the same day, whatever. But it's catchy. Where would you guys place it among these rankings? Where would it go on your order, so to speak? Go ahead, Larry. Where would you put it?
I probably between number 4 and number 3. So between No Words and Band on the Run. So it would be at, it would be at number 4. I think
Number
it's.
4.
I love it. I love the song. It's really catchy and fun.
What about you?
Great video for it too.
Yeah. How about
Actually, I didn't know. I said I didn't know it came out before, because that shows. Because I mean, he's mentioning Sailor Sam again. Went to Birmingham and Band on the Run. But was that the A side of the single? Was Band on the Run part of that single?
That I don't know.
That would make more sense to use that same character.
But I did read it was released 2 months prior to the album. So
Yeah, I have it in the same spot as Larry. It's number 4 for me. I've kind of got it. I would have Let Me Roll It, Helen Wheels, and then 1985. Yeah, it's a rocking track. I love it. I
would put it 5. I still have Band on the Run 1, Jet 2, Let Me Roll It 3, 1985 4, and then Helen Wheels. It's solid for sure. Classic McCartney. I mean, everything about it.
And then great background vocals too by Linda. Still,
I didn't write down how far it went on the charts. I don't think it was a top 10 hit, but it very well could have been. I know Jet was number 7, and Band on the Run, the title track, made it to number 3 in the US charts. So
because it was kind of like a double meaning, wasn't like there was like Hell on Wheels.
Hell on Wheels, right? Hell on Wheels, yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of like a tongue in cheek.
Which Paul's good at doing. He's good at doing that stuff.
And Rolling Stone magazine, I think, gave it an actual good review, because for his first album, McCartney, I read that whoever reviewed it gave it a good review, and then the owner of Rolling Stone was, for whatever reason, pro John Lennon and against Paul McCartney. He made him change it, but he gave it a bad review.
That's terrible. Yeah.
I just looked up. It went to number 10 in the US and number 12 in the UK.
Number 12.
Helen Wheels. So it was a top 10 hit in the US.
That's good. So he had 3 top 10 hits really at this time. If you want to include that on the album, it's pretty solid. All right, now we're going to do something. We're going to start this with this particular show, and it is rank the album on a 10-point scale. 10 being a perfect album, 1 being horrendous, 5 average. That's the scale we're using. So Larry, what are you giving it?
I would have to give it a very, very strong 9.
9 on the dot.
Yeah, I mean, when you really look at it, even the weakest song, Picasso, for me, Picasso's Last Words, it's still a really, really good song and really catchy. Bluebird is a touch, like I said, especially back in the day, a little annoying, but yeah, a solid 9.
Yeah. Sam?
I would say an 8.5. I'm going to give it a solid B, right in the middle. Going closer to a B plus, simply because, again, like that ending part of Picasso's Last Words, where it's kind of goes on for a bit. Again, Bluebird is a little bit too much for me, even though I like McCartney's syrupy stuff. I mean, a lot of that has made the top of my album list that Rich and I did. But yeah, I mean, I compare it to, other albums that I consider perfect albums. This one you know, has a couple of little flubs in it that kind of drop it a little bit for me. So 8.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna land at a 9.0 also. There's only one song I really don't like, and the other 8 I think are really strong. Even Picasso's last words, drink to me, and Bluebird I can live with. I just write that off as McCartney being ultra sweet.
Yeah,
but
but that's the thing too about Paul McCartney. He's kind of labeled for doing all of these sugary sweet songs, you know, quite a few, but John Lennon did them too. You know, like
Everybody-
Dear Yoko and Oh My Love.
right.
I mean, they're still great songs, but
Beautiful Boy.
Beautiful
Yeah.
Boy stands out. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Woman.
Even watching
Yeah.
the Wheels to an extent.
Yeah.
It's kind of
yeah,
Julia.
And I've always said I feel that John Lennon was kind of because Paul was so good with melody and all that, he was jealous of Paul. Yeah,
There had
and
to be, yeah.
maybe Paul was of John, but he certainly didn't show it like John would, right?
yeah. I just wonder how things would have turned out had they not been doing as many drugs, especially John, excuse me, had they been able to roll through that 1969-70 period and continued on, or had they reached the end? Had they burned out? I don't know. Were the drugs the big end all be all, or was it personal jealousies? Was it Alan Klein? Was it George not getting his fair share? I mean, there's so many different.
I think it was a bit of everything, but I think Alan Klein was the biggest, right?
Yeah.
Because Paul was so against him, and the other 3 were for Alan Klein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we're greedy because we want more Beatles, and we wonder what might have been had they been able to iron out their differences. Had Yoko not come along, maybe that was another one, because John and Yoko were off doing their thing with Peace, Love, and the Bed-Ins and the this and the that.
Yeah.
But you can't rewrite history. It's just food for thought, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was fun. We had 2 9s and an 8.5. So whatever that figures out, you math majors, let us know. That's the ranking we're giving it.
8.75 or something like that.
Right in that
8.8.
range. Yeah, if I could have given it an 8.75, I would have, because
It's a B plus. It's a B plus.
yeah, it's well, it's an A minus for me. I'll say that. I really like the album a lot, and I stand by it being the best, no matter what Larry says of McCartney. But that's an argument for another day. Anyway, we want to thank everybody. Go check out Sam St. John's channel, please. He's at what, 360-ish.
Yeah, I'm kind of stalled right now.
Yeah,
But-
I'm stalled right with you. We're like neck and neck in the same area, so we're gonna look for pushes. Check my channel out as well. Larry, of course, the great Canadian Studmuffin. We'll look forward to our next live stream on his channel. Thank him for coming on and being our first guest on our new series. We're looking at Glenn Kellaway next week for Highway 61 Revisited. Dylan, that'll be our next album, classic album countdown. So check that out. For Sam.
And remember, when you do a ranking of a Klaatu album, get Glenn Kellaway on.
Oh, we will. And we'll get you for Sparks too. Don't worry about it. So for Larry and Sam, this is Rich. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.